Hello and welcome to I'm Right Then Art. Today I'm going to be creating a card using the new Valentine's release from My Favourite Things called I'm Owl Yours. This features several different cute owls along with some really great sentiments. A full list of the supplies used in today's video will be listed on my blog and I'll put a link in the description box below. I'm starting out today by stamping out my images onto some Nina Solar White cardstock using Memento Tuxedo black ink. I have stamped more images than I'm going to be using just in case I make a mistake. I have put the lids in the view of the camera so you can see which colours I'm using, but as I previously said, I will put a link in the description box below to my blog which will include a full list of the Copic markers used in today's video. So I'm going to switch on some music and let you watch me colour for a while and I'll be back shortly. Once I finished colouring, I then used the coordinating dies to die cut the images that I coloured, which leave a really nice border around the edge. So I did that with all the images that I wanted to use for the card before I then moved on to the next bit. So I decided that I wanted to have some tree branches for the owls to sit on my card, and I don't have a branches or twig stamp, so I just freehand drew this and then used my Copic markers to create a wood effect on those branches, and then I cut them out using my scissors and outline them with a black marker. I think sometimes it's nice just to add your own touch or element onto the card. I know I've relied quite heavily on stamps in the past, but from time to time now I will just add my own little drawing, or if I think something's missing, I'll just attempt to freehand draw it and then colour it in using my Copics or whatever medium I'm using. But I think it just adds a little bit of uniqueness and a special touch to a card when you add your own design flair onto it. So as you can see, once I finished that, I then just used my eraser to rub out my pencil marks to make it neater. I'm then moving on to do the background, and for this I'm using distress inks. So for the yellow colour I'm using Squeeze Lemonade, for the pink colour I'm using Victorian Velvet, and for the purple I'm using Shaded Lilac. And I'm starting with the Squeeze Lemonade at the bottom, working up to the middle with the Victorian Velvet, and then towards the top with Shaded Lilac. And this is going to create a really nice evening or nighttime sky where the sun's setting, in which my owls can sit in front of. For the background, I'm using Canson watercolour cardstock to blend my distress inks. I find that this blends better on watercolour cardstock or Bristol smooth paper than it does on something like Nina Solar White cardstock. I tend to find that I get a smoother blend and it's much easier to blend as well. So I definitely recommend trying out different cardstocks when you're blending distress inks. To add some more texture onto my distress background, I'm using a water bottle and flicking some water droplets across the page, and then I'll pick the water droplets up with a kitchen towel, and it creates a really nice bleaching effect. It just adds a bit more texture to the background, and I really love the effect that this creates. I wanted to create a border as well from this distress background, so I used a Lawn Fawn largest stitched square and cut out the middle section of the card. I'm then going to use the outside section that it cuts as a dimensional border so that it ties the card together. I didn't want a bold colour on this, I wanted to keep it fairly neutral with the emphasis on that nice background and the owls in the centre. So I'm just playing around with the layout of the card to find out where I want things to sit before I start adhering things down, and working out where I think my sentiment should be on the card. So once I've picked my sentiment, I'm then going to use my anti-static tool on the background. Now to make sure that this is dry, because it's distress ink, I'm just testing it with a bit of embossing powder first to make sure it doesn't stick to that card. I'm then going to stamp the sentiment "I'm Owl Yours" in some Versamark embossing ink, and then using some Ranger's Geranium Red embossing powder on the base of that card. Once I've heat embossed that sentiment, I'm then going to start adhering the card to the card base. I'm going to use the outside border to help me line up where the middle panel needs to sit, as I'm going to adhere this straight onto the base of my card panel, and the border will be dimensional. So once I have that in position, I'm going to stick it down and then move the border out of the way for a moment. I'm then going to start adhering the rest of the elements down. I'm using some multi-matte medium onto the top branch, and I use my finger just to smear this around to make sure I've covered the area. And I'm going to adhere the blue owl down along with some of that multi-medium matte as well, as I'm going to raise the pink owl on the bottom branch with some foam dimensional tape. To help that owl stick down and adhere to the page, I'm just going to place my acrylic block over the top while I finish off the bottom of the card, just to make sure it stays in place and it sticks well and truly to that card base. So as you'll see, I then use some Scotch foam tape to add to the back of the branch, and it will just give it a bit more dimension and create some different layers to this card, which is relatively flat anyway. I do think this stamp set is adorable, from my favourite things. If you haven't seen it, I will put a picture of the full set with the sentiments on my blog, because I just think it's really cute. And again, it has sentiments for birthdays and general friendly sentiments, so it's not one that's just for Valentine's Day. So I can see that, again, I'm probably going to use this one for a number of different cards, and it will make some really good winter cards come next Christmas as well. Now, I would normally colour my owls in traditional colour tones, so greys and browns, but for this one I thought I'd do something a bit more brighter and colourful, and break the mold a little bit and push myself to try different colours. So I chose some fairly bright colours to do these owls, but I really like how they came out. I think they're really cute. So I'm just adhering down the last of the hearts with some foam tapes, and then I'm going to add some foam tape around that border and stick it to the base of my card. So I'm really happy with how this came out. I think it looks really nice. It just adds a bit of interest to the card and just finishes off that scene. I'm just going to use my jelly roll pen just to add some highlights across the card. So I'm just adding them here and there where I think they look best. You don't have to do this bit, but I just think it makes the images pop a bit more, and I like just to add the random highlights across the page. I'm using the Sakura jelly roll pen, but I also would recommend the Uniball as well. I'm then going to use a couple of layers of the Wink of Stella across the hearts. Mine's actually running out, so I need to purchase another one, so I do add a couple of layers just to make sure that that sparkle really does pop. To finish off the card, I'm just using some glossy accent on the eyes of the owls, and then that will complete the card for today. So I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video. Please leave me a comment below and give me some feedback on what you think you know of the card and how my videos are set up. I am still learning, so any feedback would be, greatly appreciated. Please subscribe if you want to see more of my videos and keep up with the latest. I am also on social media, so you can find me there too. And please like the video if you did enjoy watching it. I really do appreciate all the feedback from you guys. So I'll be back next time with another video, and I'll see you then. Bye!